Fresh off the heels of an incredible CitizenCon 2953, we are just a couple weeks away from Star Citizen's largest in-game celebration, the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. CitizenCon also gave us some direct info as to brand new ships we'll be seeing soon, like the Large RSI Miner. With the 3.21.1 patch that was recently released onto the ePTU, as well as the recent trailer, we now have confirmation of the dates, location, and the theme color of this year's expo. Oh, and hints at the newest alien ship from Gatac as well. Hello folks, Space Tech here, and welcome to a preview of every ship I expect to see go straight to Flyable and announced at a concept at this year's expo. Keep in mind some of this information pertains to data found in the game files of the most recent ePTU build by the Pipeline Discord, so everything is still subject to change. This year's expo will take place at New Babbage on Microtech, from the 17th to the 30th of November. This sign, along with the IAE image found at the end of the most recent jump point, all but confirm purple as the color scheme of the best in show skins. I've left timestamps so you can jump around to the manufacturers that you're most interested in, and if I helped make some sense of all the rumors and news by the end, a like and subscribe is always appreciated. So what ships can we expect to see released this year? Starting off incredibly strong on day 1, we have Alien Day. Here we have all the ships from Hesperia, Banu, Aopoa, and of course Gatac, the likely manufacturer of the latest alien ship going straight to Flyable in Star Citizen. Rumors of this ship first emerged a few months ago when references to the Gatac Syulen were found in the game code. At the time, this name was translated to mean fly without issue, in the same way that Raylin translates to carry without issue. Then there was radio silence. Now, months later, many more references have been found to the same ship once again. Further confirmation of the ship's imminent release were then found on the ePTU with graffiti close to the convention center that says, "Don't buy Alien." Finally, during the trailer that we got for IAE, we essentially got confirmation that this ship is going straight to Flyable with these clips. One of these clips has the word utilize or use written in them in Xi'an, the alien language of the species that builds the Gatac ships. At this point, we don't really have much to go on when it comes to details about the ship. There has been some speculation that this is the ship that was shown during CitizenCon that looked like a larger Fury in the large lineup of silhouettes that were shown. The leaks from the Pipeline Discord claim to have screenshots of the ship and that it is a ship with 3 floors. They also claim that it transforms from a horizontal position to a vertical one, similar to the MISC Reliant series of ships. At this size, it's hard to estimate what exactly the function of a ship like this would be, so given the name Fly Without Issue, what do you think will be the role of the Gatac Syulen? Do you also believe it'll be a starter? Of course, you're sure to have seen plenty of references and even videos of the Santok, a medium fighter by Aopoa. We've seen these references in Inside Star Citizen episodes over the past few months. Unfortunately, the last we heard of this ship was that it had failed a fly-no-fly related to the complications with its cockpit dashboard and the layout inside. From that point, I took a look at the progress tracker and found that the Santok has work going into it scheduled all the way into mid-December at least. From that, and the fact that it's been committed for 3.22, I think we can reasonably conclude that we will not be seeing it released this year at IAE. The next day is Aegis. The only real updates we have around Aegis ships are the ones that we got regarding the Retaliator and its Gold Pass. It's been some time now since we were told that there were no more roadblocks for modularity, and I'd expect that the teas that we got for it during CitizenCon are hinting at the release of the Retaliator base variant, as well as potentially its modularity system. I think we'll see a lot more of this progress in other communication before we see it in game, so I don't think we'll be seeing anything new for Aegis Day. Speaking of gold standard, just 2 days after the Alien Expo, the halls rotate to host Crusader Industries. This should kick off the launch of the highly anticipated Crusader Spirit C1. Having seen the A1 that launched recently, I can tell you that the excitement for the C1 has only grown since then. While at first there were a lot of questions around how valuable the C1 will be in the face of the Zeus CL, recent buffs to the C1 on the ePTU have definitely changed the dynamic of that comparison. This gorgeous looking ship will now be able to hold 2 32 SU crates of cargo snapped to either side of its cargo hold. This is an upgrade from its launch cargo of 48 to now 64. If you're willing to risk it, you can also fit some loose cargo or a vehicle in the middle area using the now functional tractor beam to directly pick up cargo from outside and place it into your hold. This is going to be a godsend when we finally get manual loading and unloading of cargo. I've also personally seen someone fit 3 Furies into the back of a C1, so it's definitely got more room than you'd think. This, combined with the atmosphere, maneuverability, and polish of the Spirit, mean that this ship is going to be an instant upgrade for a lot of Cutlass Black and Freelancer owners on day 1 of Crusader sales. That's not all though. On the very same day, we have the launch of 2 more vehicles from Tumbril. First, we have the base Tumbril Storm. This vehicle sits as the little brother to the Nova tank in almost every way. From its initial sale information, as well as the follow-up Q&A, we know that the Storm is equipped with the bespoke Size 3 energy autocannon from Herson Dynamics. While this may seem undersized, CIG goes on to clarify that the bespoke nature of the weapon means that it will hit significantly harder than other Size 3 weapons. We also know that it will have a more flexible firing arc, capable of hitting targets right beside or in front of the Storm. Another advantage is going to be the Storm's speed. It's said that it'll be much faster than a Nova, rivaling the speed of an Ursa. It does this by sacrificing a lot of its durability, sitting somewhere in between the toughness of a Nova and the health of a Centurion. And that brings us to the rumblings we first heard a couple months ago of a variant of the Storm known as the Storm AA. Once again, we see references to the Storm AA in the game files for the most recent patch. Of course, AA mostly stands for anti-air. This variant was essentially confirmed in the trailer for IAE. As you can see here, there are these zoomed out pictures of the Storm in its signature brown coloring, but we also get a few frames of this gray colored vehicle as well. We see that it's got Tumbril written on the side of it and has the same detailing as the base Storm, except now the turret is replaced with what appears to be a large rocket pod. This would be exactly on brand for Tumbril, seeing as the AA variant of the Cyclone also replaces the turret from the other variants with surface-to-air missiles. Something that I've noticed that has flown under the radar as part of the most recent patch notes for the ePTU is the Ground Radar Sensitivity Addition. This gives ground vehicles the ability to see other ground vehicles on their radars, and actually uses missile operator mode to target lock those ground vehicles. This is a huge addition, and will undoubtedly make the Storm AA a more interesting vehicle to use as anti-armor as well as anti-air. Of course, we can only guess as to the size of the missiles on the AA for now, but it'll be really interesting to see the niche this vehicle fills besides the massive ballista. The small size and speed of the Storm will allow you to deploy this vehicle in smaller ships and pass into enemy territory with a smaller chance of detection, before the enemy even knows what hits them. Overall, the Storm should be a fun light tank that you can use to run about in or race with, but of course will truly shine when we have more complete ground gameplay loops, such as the large bunkers that were shown off at CitizenCon. Next, we have Origin Day. A recent ISC showed us the updated model of the Origin X1 hoverbike, and it looks fantastic. While it would be awesome to see it launch in time for IAE, the X1 was recently committed to the release of 3.22, and so will be launching in the near future after IAE. I hope it'll come in time for the Daymar rally next year. A few days later, we have the hull being taken over by a crowd favorite, Drake Interplanetary. I have heard a lot of speculation that this will bring the release of the Cutter Expedition variant, which was originally discovered over a year ago at last year's IAE. This year at CitizenCon, we essentially got confirmation that there is a third variant of the Cutter besides the Cutter Scout, and that is the Cutter Expedition. Not only were the original predictions about the Scout correct, but CIG showed this picture of the 3 variants, in which we can clearly see the yellow fins as well as something mounted on the roof of the third variant. Early images of this variant seem to also have some sort of suit locker, as well as a table and a smaller cargo area than the Scout. All of this being said, I'm not sure if this ship will actually be released at IAE or if it will be held for a later event. The reason I think this is that no extra references to the expedition have been found in the files, nor did we see any obvious reference to it in the trailer for IAE. With ARGO taking the stage the very next day, we also have the confirmed release of the ARGO SRV. This ship has been flyable for a few days now in the ePTU, and we see plenty of references to it in the IAE trailer. This cozy one-seater brings with it the strongest tractor beam in Star Citizen till date. From the seat time that I've had with it in the ePTU, I can tell you that the tractor beam really is no joke, and it's capable of moving fairly large ships. I've also seen some awesome footage of the SRV grabbing the bombs from the A2, and then being able to drop it at a moment's notice. While it'll have none of the shielding, it's gotta be easier to sneak an SRV into Jumptown than an A2, right? Of course, the primary role of the SRV in today's verse will largely be one of utility when you're working with friends. Clearing racetracks, collecting hulls for salvaging, and moving around extra utility vehicles like the ROC are just some of the activities that I can see the SRV participating in. The utility of the SRV really is limited by your own imagination. The following days are ANVIL followed by MIRAI/MISC. We haven't heard of anything especially exciting for these exhibition halls, so take these days as an opportunity to go look at the best in show monster, the Carrack. Then, take a moment to curse or thank the stars that it didn't win again this year. That brings us to the grand finale, RSI. Well, not the actual IAE finale, but it might as well be. Last year during CitizenCon, we got the opportunity to vote for the manufacturer of the large mining ship that would slot in between the ARGO Mole and the capital ship, the RSI Orion. RSI won that vote, and then we were told by John Crew at CitizenCon this year that we would see more about that ship next month. This is that time, and in the files, the name RSI Arastra was found. Doing some digging, pardon the pun, led me to what exactly Arastra means, which is a form of primitive mill. This mill was used to grind up ores so that valuable ore could be separated from the unwanted material. While we don't know anything beyond this, the naming does make me curious to see if the Arastra will launch with some basic capability to refine the materials that it mines. We know that its bigger brother, the RSI Orion, does have an onboard refinery, so it wouldn't be a stretch to think that this larger miner may also come with a more limited version of that refinery. Of course, more advanced refining will likely be left to ships like the Expanse and the refining module of the RSI Galaxy. Whatever the capabilities though, I hope that the launch of this concept ship brings even more information about the future of mining in Star Citizen. Even though it's one of the more fleshed out gameplay loops, more depth is always something to look forward to. To cap off IAE, we will then have the best in show, where we should expect to see skins for the 600i, Corsair, Redeemer, and the Vulture. If you have these ships in your hangar, you should be gifted a free account-bound skin for the ships that you own, with an option to purchase CCUs or standalone ships that will come with the paints as well. We may also see the release of purple armor sets, similar to the Red Alert ones released last IAE in the red Best in Show color. What ships are you most interested in getting, and which Best in Show paint are you going to end up owning? Please like and or subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.